Right, welcome back to the channel. Carrying on with the Triumph. It looks like, yes, I've got to go back in. I did fiddle around with it after the last video, see if I could move it slightly. I ended up removing the cam plate plunger from underneath, which sits in the bottom of the engine. Removed that, drained all the gearbox oil out. I could actually move the selector slightly on the cam plate. Managed to actually, with the plunger, with this out, I managed to locate one gear because I put the cover on loose. Managed to get one gear, but that's all I can seem to get, and I've got no clutch. It's just, unfortunately, it's one of them things. So hopefully, I knew the clutch was working, so obviously hopefully when everything's bolted back in I should have clutch back. But I'm actually going to take that plate, the actual front cover plate, I'm going to take that off. I've dug the service manual out, so we're going to go back in, have a look, see if what position the cam plate is in. So let me show you the actual pictures, which is how I set it up originally, which are from the service manual. So that's the actual picture. Like I said, it's almost shaped like sort of like a Christmas tree. That is set up in the second to third gear, as you actually got figure D10. Set the cam plate with the plunger located in the notch between second and third gear, see figure 10. So it's actually that one, which is how I set it up in the first place. And then for the actual selector, the way they've done it with a dark line is just a shadow, because that is actually rounded. Let me take you down and show you. So that's the actual rounded part. So in the drawing it shows a shadow there, and that's showing 1, 2, should be 1, 2. So that, I would say, I managed to move it last night slightly, but it's now still in the wrong position. So I need to move that up slightly. So I need to undo this bolt, that screw, take off this nut, pull this cog, the starter cog, off, and then remove this whole section out. That will be the main spline for the gearbox. It goes straight through to the actual main shaft, goes through to the sprocket, and then the cam plate sits behind this plate just in about there. So I think that's the only way forward. And obviously dig out another gasket, I should have a spare. But other than going back in fully, the reason why I didn't go in beforehand, I just wanted people's opinion. I didn't want to create more work for myself, whether it was something where I could just adjust it slightly. Again, unsure. But as I say, I've managed to move that slightly. I managed to locate one gear and that was it. So I actually had the bike rocking forward, managed to get a gear, and you could feel the, but then that was it. It was just that one selected gear. So what I'll do is, as I say, take out that one, that screw, take this off, pull, take the cover off, and I'll bring you back when I've basically, this front cover is just about to come off. Right, this is just starting to come. Removed the Allen from there, the screw from there, and I forgot the bolt that actually sits in there. Typical, lost a bolt, gone in oil. Let's take that one out. Right. That's the other washer from the centre. There we go. Yeah, so that's the positioning at the front. As you can see, it's a cogged back. And there's actually cogs in the back of the cam plate, which I'll show you in a second. So as you can see there, that's the cogs. Well, by the looks of it, that cam plate is in exactly the right position, which is worrying. So I'm now actually none the wiser. I really don't want to pull them gears out, but I may have to. No, this is really confusing because I've just dug out the actual diagram of the gearbox itself, so you can see the two gears, then the selector, and you've got two gears here. That is lining up perfectly. Two gears at the top. And you've got the selector just there at the end of my finger. So there's the selector shaft. There's the selector there. Gear there. Get my finger out of the way. Gear behind. So I can actually move that one. Selector. Yeah, there's a gap between the two, as it shows there. It may be a case of picking this apart gear by gear I've even just taken 10-15 minutes out and had a look at the actual video where I actually put the gearbox in and how the shafts are actually lined up. I'll put a link up in the corner to that video. I suppose I'm just a bit tentative to actually take everything apart again, because it looks like everything's in the right place. So, let's say, these are the diagrams that I used when I put it in. It was awkward to get in, but as I say, everything seems to be lined up, everything seems to be in the right place. Yeah, see, I'm totally lost. I've just actually, off camera, I've just taken the first few cogs out. So that one slides out easy. Pulled the other ones out down to the, basically near the selector, because the selector actually joins two of the cogs together. Where the lip is, it sits in, and everything is in the right place. So for now I've actually laid everything on the bench as it come out. I've had a look at the teeth, whether it's bent, there's no damage. Everything is in situ as it should be, which is just so confusing. Right, so you join me actually in my time many hours later. Had a long conversation with Steve. Really appreciate your help, Steve. It's meant a lot. Explained the whole situation to him. Unfortunately, the only way that he could see of doing it was basically to rip the whole gearbox out, clutch, and start again. So that's what I've done. I haven't filmed any of it. I've just shut myself away and just concentrated on taking everything out piece by piece, laying it out as I did when I actually started the project, so I could work out how things go together. Like I said, the actual setup of the gearbox and the actual cam plate looked exactly right, matched it to the photograph, but still it didn't explain why it wasn't going into gear. So as I said, he suggested that basically, yeah, gearbox out and actually rebuild it with the shafts all in place, cog at a time. But obviously it meant actually pulling the clutch out so I could pull the main shaft out and start again. So like I said, that took many hours, which it was unneeded, but unfortunately it was needed, if that makes sense. It's something I had to do. I'm now at the stage where I've just bolted everything back into position. Again, I think I got to the point where I was quite tired. I put everything back and then I realised I'd actually forgot the clutch push rod, so I had to take things back out again, then put the clutch push rod back in. But it's one of them things. But let me show you where I'm at the moment. So like I say, I've literally just finished putting all this back in. After, say, putting everything back on and then realising that the actual push rod wasn't in place. It was still sitting up on the bench behind me, which was unneeded, but these things happen. So I fitted the clutch push rod, put all the casing back in, took a break for about half an hour just to chill out. The clutch cable that I've had to make, it actually does operate the clutch, but it turns out by the looks of it I'm about probably 10mm too long at the cable end, so I've got to go back in, probably going to have to cut the nipple off of that end and take about 10mm off, because I'm at the fullest extent there, and as you can see I'm quite a way out, so about 10mm, but I say I can get that. So let's go for, you can see, yep, right, So yeah, you can see the rear wheel moving. So I'm in neutral at the moment. That's now locked in first. Back to neutral. Again, another gear, and third gear. And back to neutral. So, and again, big apologies, I believe, well, it was actually Steve that picked it up. I'd actually said, I was under the impression the gears were 1 up, 3 down. Apparently that is Norton's. Triumph is the same as Jack Bikes, so it's 1 down, 3 up. And I believe BSA's might be the same, but don't quote me on that. So it's Norton's that are actually 1 up, 3 down. As I say, where obviously this is a 4-speed box. You do have, I believe there's a 5-speed box. So again, it's 1 down, 3 up, or 1 down and 4 up. But as I say, many hours of work just to try and piece it together in my mind and try and sort stuff out. But I now have gears, so I've only got really the clutch cable to do. Get that done. Then I'll probably go for a start. So I've got the plug caps, plugs, and one HT lead to replace. Sort that clutch cable out. Then I think I can go for another start. I've repaired the fuel line. And then it will be a case of, well, start it and try and put it into gear and ride. It will literally just be out of the garage door. I'm in a cul-de-sac, round a circle and probably back. But that will be a monumental. But I don't think I'm quite ready there. I'm not ready at that point yet. I need to go back over, check all the bolts. But so pleased I've now got gears. Again, big thank you, Steve. Your help has been absolutely phenomenal. And I have listened. I don't always get it first time. But no, so we have gears, people, which is great news. So that's been, it's been one hell of an adventure, it really has. But I think every episode we're getting closer. A big thank you to everybody that's left me comments. As I say, big thank you to Steve. I had another gentleman, sorry I'm terrible with names, that left me a comment saying that he set everything up by the book as it was, and it still took him 2 or 3 attempts because he was basically one cog out. And again, it's just taking it out and going back in, and yeah, it's a lengthy process, but kind of enjoyable, stressful at times as well. But it's all part of the build. It's all part of what this channel is fundamentally about. It's having a go and learning. I'm not advising people to go and buy a Triumph and try and work on one for the first time. Build yourself up. But again, big thank you to Pippa and Ian. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the belief. It really means a lot. This has been a special build, and I thank you for giving me the chance to do it. I know I've said it before, but it does mean a lot. You know, to get this back up running and basically, well, to hopefully go back on the road and be ridden. So I'm going to crack on with the other few jobs that need to be done. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next episode of the Triumph, I should be able to ride it out of the garage. Big fingers crossed on that one. For all the people interested in the Z650, again, apologise. It has been a while. It's been quite frustrating. There's still a bit more to do. I will bring it back as soon as possible. I know people are looking forward to actually seeing it. Sometimes the thing of running 2 projects at the same time, it does get a bit much. I was primarily jumping between the two when waiting for parts. But the Z650 will be coming back. We will get that finished, and again that will ride out of this garage. If it's the last thing I do, I intend to have that done. So I think I'm going to go and sit down, cup of tea, put my feet up and have a chill, and then come back and just finish off the last few bits. And as I say, hopefully I'll bring you back to when it's ready to be ridden out of the garage. Any comments in the comments box below? Appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. It means so much, it really does. I mean, the channel is growing, the views are going up. I mean, for me it's a really big thing. I've just gone through 1 million views, which doesn't sound a lot to a lot of people, but to me it means so much. So big thank you to all the support, all the Facebook followers, the Twitter followers, the Instagram followers. It's fantastic. And my patrons, I can't forget them. Links to other videos at the end of the video, and as always, appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. Join me again in the next episode. Cheers. Bye.